Άνοιξε τη βάση σου, πάτα καλά συνέχεια.
Σε έναν τελικές, δηλαδή υπάρχει ένας βάση και
Τις βάσεις του, αυτό μου το είπα.
Απλά όταν θες να ανοίξεις το γήπεδο στο φόρτα, θα χρειαστείς ένα κεβαλάκι, μην παίζεις όπεν στάνεις και αν μπορείς πάτα. Όσο πιο πολύ πατάς και περνάς στο σώμα σου, θα βρεις πιο καλή γωνία στο φόρτα. Θυμήσου. Αυτό το κτίσμα είναι πολύ σημαντικό. Καταλαβαίνεις. Θες να τον ανοίξεις το φόρτα. Πάτα και παίρνα σώμα. Πάντα βρίσκεις καλύτερη γωνία να περνάς σώμα. Για να μην παίξει μόνο με το ρόλο. Και το έχεις αυτό, πρόσεξε. Το έχεις. Να σου δεις δεύτερη μπάλα στη φόρτα.
Just about ready to get underway for this second singles encounter, day 2 of the United Cup here in Perth. It's Greece versus Bulgaria, and well, the good news for fans of Team Greece is that they have secured the tie 3-love, but with the quality of the teams here, you want to make sure you win every match and give you the best possible chance of topping the pool and heading to Sydney for the semi-finals and the finals. So still a lot to play for Michail Pervolarakis, who will be the Greek player here. We've seen him in the ATP Cup last couple of seasons, Greek number 2, and he'll be up against Dimitar Kuzmanov of Bulgaria, 196 in the world. This Greek team have entertained us already as we're just about ready for the introductions onto the court.
Please welcome Bulgaria. Led out by team captain Petros Tsitsipas and represented by Michail Pervolarakis.
Pretty warm conditions out on court here at RAC Arena. It's over 30 degrees, the sun beating down on the court, the roof open, but there's plenty of sunshine. Very cool if you're sitting in the stands, air-conditioned stadium, so very pleasant for the spectators. The team zone's now in the shade as well, after Stefanos Tsitsipas had the umbrella out early. John Fitzgerald, Australian Davis Cup winner 39 years ago, Fitzy. I saw a picture of you the other day with Mark Edmondson and Pat Cash, Paul McNamee, and you wearing your trademark tight shorts as you did. So welcome to you.
Would that be the biggest difference these days, that the small tight shorts of yesteryear?
You would not be allowed out onto court wearing the shorts that you wore, I don't think.
Onto the beach, maybe.
Whereas Michail Pervolarakis here, he's got an enormous pair of shorts on. They are huge.
They are.
Renee.
He's a big man.
This is Renee. She's going to be helping me out. This is Renee. She's going to be helping me out. If I can have you stand here in the middle, facing the camera, please. All right. We're going to do a photo after the coin toss. Yep. Besides that, live electronic line calling. Take the blue, please, for your towels. Yellow, please, for your towels. Yellow. So there's tape in the box. Yellow. Okay. Yeah, inside. Yes, please. Besides that, anything, guys? Nope. Okay. Heads, tails.
Heads, please.
Heads, tails, heads. Okay, up into the air, to the ground, please. Thank you. It is tails.
Receive.
Receive.
I think you're attack.
Okay, facing that way, please. A quick photo. That way. Yep.
Greg Allensworth of the USA in the chair. Toss of the coin completed. And well, it should be an entertaining match, this. As we mentioned, Michail Pervolarakis, we've seen him in the ATP Cup in the 3 years that it was held. 1-7 in singles. He's the Greek number 2 and has been since 2019. So he loves this ATP Cup because he spends most of his life battling away on the Challenger circuit. So some good prize money for him over the last couple of years. And he got a win last year against Alex Mitrovic of Georgia. There's Kuzmanov. 196 in the world. It has been up to 159. That was in August last year, the 29-year-old. And he also spends most of his time on the Challenger circuit. Had a runner-up in India last year against the young Australian Alex Vucic. A couple of semi-finals, 3 in fact, and 2 quarter-finals. So reasonable. And I guess his big goal, Fitzy, would be to try and find his way into a Grand Slam main draw. He's been close, 3rd round of qualies on 3 separate occasions. So he's knocking on the door.
Yeah, and he's got some talent, Kuzmanov. So This is a big stage for both of these players. It certainly asks a question when even when you walk out into a stadium that's this big, can seat 14,000 people. So it's quite daunting, you know, when you're used to playing most of your tennis on the Challenger Tour. But there's a fine line sometimes between that tour and the big stage. So it can be a real fine line. So both of these players capable of playing really well. There's Pervolarakis there, born in Limassol on Cyprus. And this is a big occasion for him too. He's played well the last couple of years. We've seen him in the ATP Cup. And he'll be feeling pretty relaxed now that his team is up 3-0 here. But they need every win they can get to try to guarantee a final spot, even when you win 3-love against any other nation. The extra points for winning matches helps.
No doubt about that. And if they don't win the tie here, then the best of the runners-up from across the three groups makes it through to the semi-final. So every win sets, all of that is important when it comes to the tie-break situation. And that, as we've seen with Pervolarakis, he can sometimes get off to a bit of a shaky start, but if he gets his confidence going early, he's a big man, doesn't have a huge serve.
But he plays to a high level, doesn't he? And what we've noticed in the last couple of years is that he'll play that well for a set, maybe, and then his level has dropped off a little bit. So the challenge is obviously to keep that level the same. Anyone can... The best tennis of any of these players is good enough. It's how far it goes the other way, and if they do drop off, how far they go down in terms of their level. So that's his challenge. I think on paper here, Kuzmanov is certainly the favourite, but depends how they both handle the stage.
Well, they're both playing on that Challenger circuit, but Kuzmanov's been to finals, semi-finals and quarterfinals, and you look through the results of last year, regularly getting through the first couple of rounds and into the business end of each tournament.
1 minute.
Pervolarakis had a pretty difficult year. First round in most of his Challenger events, which makes for a tough year, doesn't it, when you're travelling around to various locations and got a young child and away from home. And
yeah, young family will sort you out there.
Studied at the University of Portland. You talk about his consistency and his level. When you play collegiate tennis,
30 seconds.
You'd think you'd find a level, wouldn't you? Because you're playing a lot of tennis. So
three tie-break sets.
Let's see how he can go here. Start off his 2023 campaign.
It's pretty warm too down at court level. It's you know, dry heat here in Perth, as we all know, and there's nowhere to hide out there when it's when the sun's blaring. So not as hot as we get some years here, but it'll be physical.
End of warm-up.
Got Mark Philippoussis courtside for us. Mark, conditions, it's nice where you're sitting in the shade, but I think if you take a few of your big strides out into the court, it's pretty warm.
Yeah, I at one stage walked out just to feel it, and it feels like you're walking to a sauna. I mean, it's not as bad as it was yesterday, but I think, what is it, 31 right now, roughly? Maybe a little more than that on the court, but I'm very happy to be in the shade here, boys.
What are you expecting here? We haven't seen too much of the Bulgarian Kuzmanov, but we know a little bit about Pervolarakis, and you do because you've spent a bit of time with Team Greece over the last couple of days.
Yeah, Kuzmanov, look, he's going to be a solid player. He's going to be the guy that he's not going to miss too much on the baseline. He's a good athlete, hits the ball solid on both sides. He's not going to miss too many balls, and it's one that Pervolarakis, you know, I expect him to be a little nervous out there, but look, his team, his country is up 3-0. He can afford to go out there, be a little more relaxed and swing away. But anytime you represent your country, it's always a little nerve-wracking.
Dimitar Kuzmanov, representing
so Team Bulgaria will start proceedings here.
Ready. Play.
First time these two have met too, Fitzy, so it takes a little bit of time to get used to what sort of balls you're going to get back the other side of the net.
Yeah, a bit of a nervous start, I think, from Pervolarakis here, just trying to find his range. And Kuzmanov has done the strategic thing, just got the first serve into play.
Game.
Good game.
Team Bulgaria. First game.
Exactly what you want. Start to love. Yeah, for these players that are at the next level down, to be in this team atmosphere and around the leaders of the team, for Kuzmanov with Dimitrov, and obviously Pervolarakis is mates with Tsitsipas and co, but it's a great opportunity to start the season in that environment.
Oh, it's like heaven coming to Perth. Anyway, it's like coming to heaven, isn't it? It seems, but you know, the conditions, the way you're treated in an event like this, and you don't see that on the Challenger Tour. So, and those two players you mentioned, Dimitrov and of course, well, the Greek
Tsitsipas,
the Greek god almost.
Yeah.
You know, he's. I might save that for our co-commentator. But those guys are big stars in their country, and to spend time with them for these two players is really like gold.
This is the thing with Pervolarakis. He's a big man. He's athletic. He's got, what is it, 193. So he's 6'4", 90 kilograms. There's a bit of him. He should be more powerful with his
he's a
grand strokes.
He is a big athlete, and looks like his feet aren't moving quite quick enough at the start here. He's struggling a bit. His first step looks a bit inhibited too, Mark, at court level. He does look nervous. You mentioned it at the start, he might be.
Yeah, guys, you're spot on. And the first thing that happens when you're nervous is your feet don't move. And those two forehands, let me tell you, there was no acceleration at all with his racket. He's so tight right now.
Gee, that volley touched the tape too. He needed a little bit of luck there.
15-30.
Well, he gets away with it. Gee, he took a risk. Hit his forehand straight into the hitting zone of his opposition there, and could have been made to pay heavily for that. I thought, this is a mistake for me. It just comes straight from there. Kuzmanov should win that point probably. He just hit the passing shot straight at the big Greek at net, and he anticipated decently there. A big game for Michail here. If he can get through this, he might be able to settle down a little bit. But right now, he looks shaky. Well done.
40-30. Team Greece.
Well, it's a little shaky, but he's on the board for Team Greece. And as much as your team pump you up and send you out there full of confidence, it's a big stage for players at this level. Big court, big stage, playing for your country.
Yeah, he'll be relieved to get through that first game. That can help you settle a little bit. It really was a golden opportunity, I think, for Dimitar there to break in that opening Pervolarakis service game. No such luck. 1-all.
Let for serve.
Does he prefer the backhand wing mark? Pervolarakis, he looked there like he could have got around and hit the forehand, but he chose to step to his right and take it on the two-hander.
I think that's the safer side for him.
Well, there's no weight of shot, is there, Mark? You can see that from ground level, even more so than up here where Dave and I are. At ground level, you can see that through the air, his ball is not moving as fast as you'd expect it to.
Yeah, you know what? You guys touched upon that. He's a big guy, you know, 6'4". What is he? 6'4", maybe close to 6'5". And I'm just surprised there's not a little more, not only any ground strokes, but even his serve.
Yeah, that can be nerves, can't it? The lack of racket head acceleration so far.
He does have a real compact swing on that backhand. There's not a lot of take back. He's almost on his hip and then follows through. But he does the same on both sides. So, like you said, when you're tight, the body's not moving freely.
Okay, a promising move.
40-15. Game. Team Bulgaria. Team Bulgaria leads.
Kuzmanov, 2-1. We talked about Perth and Western Australia, Fitzy, and how lucky we are to be here. They've got tremendous sporting venues as we travel across the Swan River. Came here for a World Triathlon Championships back in the 90s along the Swan River. Great golf courses, magnificent. If you like the trots, horse racing, field and track. #2 sport in the world behind tennis, of course. Horse racing and the magnificent Optus Stadium. I ran along the river yesterday and into this stadium. I've never been inside it, but from the outside, it's fantastic.
You know, at times they try to kick the AFL football across the Yarra in Melbourne. Did you try to do a long jump across the Swan by any chance?
I'll Google. What's the width of the court?
Oh. Gee.
In the singles.
This is a very wide. Well, it's a very wide sideline here. This is a big, well over a championship court.
From singles line to singles line.
Can you jump that far?
I don't know.
Well, not now, but
certainly not now.
Back in the day.
Anyway, magnificent sporting facilities here in Perth. I'm just going to Google tennis court dimensions, so stand by.
I could see you taking a flying leap over the Swan. That'd be good.
Time.
Okay, so the baseline width is 27 feet. I was just short of that.
That's impressive.
How just.
Well, 27 feet's 822. My best was 813. 833 windy. So with the aid of a minor hurricane, I could go from one side of that court to the other.
Gee, what about with the wind?
Yeah, well, that with a hurricane.
So that's a mistake. It's just a tactical error for me. If you're going to approach there, and I put this down to nerves early. He's not flowing freely with the forehand, so he's a bit inhibited here. But this is all day you go the other way with that forehand and come in. You don't just loop it back to the opposition's forehand because you're a sitting duck if he gets a swing at it. Just a tactical error.
Love 30.
Can get a little tricky this end too with the sun. This time of the day, just past midday local time here in Perth. Just see he's trying to shake himself out, and
yeah,
sometimes a bit too much thinking. The Bachelor of Psychology degree that he's got might mean that there's a few too many thoughts going through his head.
Well, he's certainly looking inhibited. I feel for him at the moment because it can be a bit of stage fright too. It's such a big stadium here, and he's really struggling on that forehand wing to generate racket head speed. That was an easy put away, and he didn't just miss that by a few centimetres. That was a long way over the baseline. So needs to try and snap into form here quickly, Michael.
Let. Second serve.
Look at that difference in the forehand top spin speed.
Yeah, and that comes from racket head speed, Dave. So the revolutions you can get on the ball. You know, in golf, if you have club head speed, you hit the ball further. In tennis, if you have racket head speed, you hit it harder. And there's no racket head speed, as Mark mentioned there, down at courtside. And I think that's just because of the nerves. It seems to be anyway. So a tough start for the Greek here. And Kuzmanov in that game all he really needed to do was make Pervolarakis play, and he's in the box seat here early.
$15 love. I
think that's not a bad move for him, though. I mean, he missed that backhand, but it looks really obvious that his backhand wing, he has more confidence there. So at least he stood in there, took that ball early. It was a close miss, but generated some speed. which is what he's looking for.
Let's for serve.
Better approach shot.
30-15.
I don't understand physics that well, David, but this makes sense. You go off, you make the two-hander stretch a little bit, rather than hitting that same ball into the forehand where he can really take a couple of steps and swing hard. Mistake there too.
You guys touched at the start upon Pervolarakis not having the best year in singles. He had a better year in doubles. I spoke to him a little yesterday. And as you can see, when he comes to net, I agree, Fitzy, he's come, I think, 2 out of 3 times to the forehand side, which is dangerous. But when he gets to the net, he's got a good understanding of where to cover the ball. A little lucky with a couple of leg courts, but that definitely is the play for him today. Try and get to net when he can, not stay on the baseline with him.
Well, that's his best shot so far. Well played, a short backswing. That's right, Flip. He anticipates well, so he reads the play when he comes in. I just think his approach to the forehand a couple of times too much, and that puts him under pressure. But this is his best shot so far. Short backswing, meet the ball out in front. Let the speed of the serve help you there on the return ball.
He worked hard to get the break-back point opportunity.
Dave, I sense that Kuzmanov here, he understands that Pervolarakis is struggling on the forehand wing, and he'll hit more balls there than he normally would. So he pulled a couple of inside-in forehands down the line there to get it back to the Greek's forehand, and he's looking for, or to penetrate that weakness a little bit at the moment.
Well, his forced errors have all come from the forehand side. He's had 9 unforced errors, and they're 5-4 forehand backhand. It's Pervolarakis we're talking about. Good serve there.
Team Bulgaria. Game, Team Bulgaria.
So survived the break point. Now 4-1 in this opening set for Team Bulgaria.
Because I'm starting it late.
Where the team bench is important too, to try and lift the spirits. There's Stefanos out the back on the warm-up court here. Fitness coach. I was in the lift with him this morning, Fitzy, and he's got some size about him. The fitness coach.
Oh, yeah. He might bench press you if you
give
him a bit of lip, Dave.
I was very polite, as you can imagine. Very warm out there on that court. It's just out the back of the stadium here, virtually in the car park at RAC Arena. You can see it there on the left-hand side. Cooler temperatures forecast for the next couple of days, but then next week back into the mid to high 30s.
Δηλαδή δεν χρειάζεται να είναι τέλειο και μπορεί να το μιξάρεις αυτό. Να κάνεις ένα approach, έναν τρόπο.
So there's not much chatter going on down there in the Team Greece bench. Postolos, well, he does a lot of talking most of the time, issuing some instructions there.
Πάμε, αγόρι.
And a bit of work to do here for Michail Pervolarakis. Some sad news overnight, Fitzy, for Australian tennis fans in particular, but others of the old style of tennis.
Yeah. The great Rex Hartwig passed away overnight. And he'll be missed. He was a real character, a great player in the 50s. 93 years old he was. If I can just chat about Rex, he deserves it. You know, just for a moment, he won the, he was in the final of the Australian Open in 1954. So as an amateur in those days, you would travel and play for, 2, 3, 4 years, and then some of them turned pro, as Rex did. But before he did that, he was in the final of the Australian Open, 4th round of the French a couple of times, Wimbledon quarter-finalist and a US Open finalist as well, the same year in 1954. And as a doubles player, he really excelled.
And in those days, travel by boat probably to get across to Europe.
Yeah,
stay there and then on the boat to the US.
He was one of the best players in the world in 1954. He won the Australian Open doubles, won Wimbledon, and then again in 1955 he won Wimbledon in doubles. US Open winner in 1953, and he won 2 mixed doubles Australian Open championships as well. So he was ranked number 5 in those days with a different system. It was the Lance Tingay system back there in 1954, ranked number 5 in the world in the amateurs.
30-15.
A real stalwart of the Davis Cup in those years, winning it a couple of times in 53 and 55. Wonderful player, good man. He was a sheep farmer.
Players from that era, Fitz, I would imagine, would love this time of year, sitting back on the couch at home and watching tennis.
He was watching the United Cup yesterday. Okay.
That's sad.
And if I can just...
It's not a bad way to go if that's...
Do you mind if I read a bit of this, Dave? He had an amazing 93 years, a life well lived. And this is one of his daughters saying that our father Rex has passed away peacefully during the night. He spent his last days with many special visits from close family and his final hours with Madge, his wife, by his side and with the United Cup tennis on TV. How's that?
Yeah. 93.
Yep.
Life well lived.
Yep. Gee, good feel there on that one, Mark Philippoussis. You would have been happy with that volley.
Yeah, I mean, look, he stepped into that forehand nicely, accelerated, and then finally went into the backhand, and again, covering the line nicely, and got down really well for a big guy here and showing some great touch. This is not an easy shot. Did really well here.
That's a better serve. Missed, but pace was there, a bit more purpose. That one, not so much.
Deuce.
You know, I've got to say how impressed I am with Kuzmanov. He's a strong athlete, strong legs, and he's so stable and still when he hits his forehand and backhand, and got great acceleration. And just it looks very safe when he hits his ground strokes.
Let. Second serve.
Looks like he's got a bit of trouble with his shoulder here too, Mark. Pervolarakis. He's really rotating his shoulder and feels maybe his rotator cuff is hurting.
You know, I actually had breakfast with him this morning, and I asked him how he was feeling physically. He said everything's good, there's no issues there. I really believe it's, you know, just nerves right now.
Right.
But one thing I can tell you that he's definitely doing on that serve, on that second serve, he's on contact, he's collapsing, and his head is going down on contact, and it's dragging everything down. He's definitely not keeping that chin up on contact.
There's a lot of risk too on the takeaway, and if you don't get the timing right with that.
I think his motion is different than it was in the last couple of years. It looks like it's evolved into something that it sort of wasn't. It was a more solid motion, I thought, a year or so ago. But the whole thing might be just lack of matches, I'd say, because that affects players, David. It's not easy walking out here, you know, after an off season, playing your... It's okay to practice, but when you play your first match, first competition, it's a different story.
Advantage, Team Bulgaria.
Yeah, Fitzy, confidence has a lot to do with it, doesn't it? Like you said, and maybe a little bit of nerves. He's definitely settled down, but I think it's confidence not having the year he wanted in singles. And these are tough matches, and you're representing your country as well. There's a lot on the line here.
So tough spot here, break point.
Game. Team Bulgaria.
That's a disappointing way to end that service game.
Team Bulgaria leads 5 games to 1.
Kuzmanov out to a 5-1 lead here. The unforced errors really starting to pile up to 15-2.
And that means that in Kuzmanov's mind, all he needs to do here is just keep playing the way he's playing. Don't change your game now. Just keep the ball in. Michael's struggling here. So why change your winning formula? Serving into the sun, though, is always a little bit dodgy.
Well, that's when he's looked his best, hasn't he? When he's come into the net, and when you're 6'3", even when you get there, you're imposing. He's got a big wingspan. There's a lot of him, so he...
Yep, absolutely. I mean, that's the formula he has to try and emulate. But when you get the opening down the line, and you player over on that corner, you hit it down the line and then look. Especially when a guy chips it, you know where he's going. You've got time to be there. So that's a good tactical play and one he should try to pursue more of.
all.
Kuzmanov's just a way better mover. He's in a position so much quicker. Good anticipation there.
It's his first double fault. Again, plenty of time for Kuzmanov.
30 all. $40-30.
So set point here to the Bulgarian. He's continuing on his merry way, it seems.
Game end. First set.
Well, 9th unforced error, and that pretty much sums up proceedings in this opening set. As Team Bulgaria take it comfortably, 6-1, 33 minutes. Well, we talked about it from the outset when the players came out, that Pervolarakis, from what we've seen of him in the ATP Cup, can be a little shaky at the start, doesn't have the confidence up, and then it can very quickly go south. And as we look at the statistics, there's the unforced errors. The killer, he came to the net a lot. And
5%, even when the first serve goes in, that just shows there's nothing on that first serve, which, again, for someone that's his size, 6'3", there's just no acceleration. It's very surprising.
So here's my favourite win predictor. I like to argue with win predictor. You can beat a machine. But I think it's got it right. In fact, it's only saying 91%. I think it could probably be a little higher than that. It was in favour of Kuzmanov at the start, 66%.
Yeah, I agree.
15 long.
I'm not going to argue with that stat, the 91%. It's all of that, I'd say. Mark, just for your information, he's flexing his fingers now, and he was as he walked back out onto the court. So, it looks to me it's inhibition, bit of cramp, nerves.
Look, I'm going to break it all down. A lot of it's in nerves. I hope he's not cramping. It's one set. The first set was 6-1. And if he is cramping, it is nerves. We know what that can do to you. But
yep.
Like you said, guys, he's got to swing freely and like, first set 6-1. I've got nothing left to lose, and let's be aggressive. Let's get to the net, try something different.
Let first serve.
Maybe a couple of serve and volleys won't hurt.
I think when you have a lack of matches as well,
30-15.
that's for me one of the biggest things for a pro. You know, if you.
Yeah, it's he knows it's kind of my wrist arm.
Yep.
Right. So you heard him verbalise there. It's something to do with his wrist. But a lack of matches can do this to your body a bit too. And if you haven't hit enough balls under pressure in matches, you can be found out a little bit on a stage like this.
40-50. Game, Team Greece.
That's a better start.
First game, second set.
So he called for the trainer to have a look at this wrist issue. Have to wait until the sit down, the first sit down after 3 games. Isabella Shnikova of Bulgaria playing against Pervolarakis' teammate Michail yesterday had issue with the hand, cramping in the hand. Had to put a brace on her arm. She had more than a couple of issues. Had an issue with the thigh and then the hand as well, cramping.
I like that play, guys. You know, I thought that was a smart little chip, bringing Kuzmanov into the net, but he anticipated that volley. Just couldn't get it in the court.
As the younger Tsitsipas brother, he might get a run as this tournament goes on. He just looks like a player out of form. It just looks like he hasn't had any matches under his belt here. Not a good feeling.
Game, Team Bulgaria.
Easy service hold to open the account. Second set for Dimitar Kuzmanov.
Come on now.
Oh, guys, Petros Tsitsipas, the captain for Team Greece, in Greek, told him to move forward. So obviously, I think the game plan for everyone is just to get to the net a lot more. Let's see if he listens to his captain.
Well, he's not going to win from the back of the court, Mark. You can put that in the bank. So he does need to do whatever he can to move forward. But to me, it just seems like he can't move. He's so inhibited. And if you don't move on a tennis court, you can be in trouble. That's why us old fellas, when you get a bit older, you can't move as well. It's a game of movement, this sport. And he's struggling with that right now.
Oh, speak for yourself, Fitzy.
Well, I am.
Yeah, guys, I don't think he's had the most ideal off-season. And not only that, like you said, Fitzy, he definitely not match tough as well. And it's just it's showing right now on the court.
Nothing's going right now. Double faults. Fourth of the match so far.
Gets away with it. Well played. And right now, that's his best asset, the anticipation at the net. At least when he comes forward, he knows what to look for. And even though I don't like this approach shot, but he hits it well enough to take the Bulgarian out of court. And ultimately, that wins him the point. Clever. That was a talented shot right there. That was awkward for Kuzmanov. And he understood very clearly where his racket face was there, and that was good adaptation. Clever.
And didn't have a lot of room too down this line, but showing great hands.
Yep.
You know, as much as we've been talking about Pervolarakis and nervous or lack of match play, I've got to say Kuzmanov is making it difficult for him. I mean, he's being so solid from the back. He moves well. He's doing all the right things, and he'd make it tough for anyone right now.
Hey, Flipper, if I can call him that again, Dave. He's a fan of Kuzmanov.
Well,
isn't he?
He hasn't had that much opportunity to show what he's really capable of because he hasn't needed to, but he's got some wheels.
Yeah.
He's aggressive when he needs to be.
And Mark Philippoussis likes him.
That's a big tick.
Deuce.
Might not tell the Team Greece team zone that, otherwise he might not be invited back for breakfast.
No, I think we'll be talking about Pervolarakis being nervous, but I can imagine Kuzmanov is nervous as well, but he hasn't shown it at all. He's just done a good job in doing exactly what he needed to do, and that's being solid.
Brings up another break point. It's worth remembering the points and prize money, of course. It's a staggered amount depending on your ranking, but for a player of Kuzmanov's status, 196 in the world, but it's in August of this year, 22, still this year, up to 159. You have a couple of good matches, good qualifying for the Australian Open, squeak your way into the draw, and all of a sudden you're He is off to a flyer.
Deuce. Advantage, Team Bulgaria. Game, Team Bulgaria.
The wheels on display for Dimitar Kuzmanov. Gets the break. 2-1 for Team Bulgaria. Trainer coming out to investigate the wrist.
So does he need to lay down? No. No, okay.
So whilst they get busy with the body of Michail Pervolarakis, we'll head off to Rottnest Island, 19 kilometres off the coast of Fremantle by ferry. This magnificent playground, 63 bays for swimming and snorkeling right around there, car free, home of the quokka. Magnificent. You been there, Fitzy?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, a few times. Lovely. Only been there once, I think. It's magnificent.
I went out there on a day where it was a little rough.
Really?
On the boat
trip?
Yeah. But a beautiful spot. Gee, it's
Talking to Alicia about that. They have an ocean swim
Ladies and
from
gentlemen,
Fremantle
Team
to
Greece
19K.
now receiving
I have
medical
not done that, and
No.
I can guarantee you, David,
No.
I'm not doing it ever.
No, I just said the same thing. 25 metres would about to see me out, so I'd be struggling for the rest of the 18.75 kilometres to get through.
Can you swim a kilometre?
No, not a hope. So a few issues with the arm now, and so the wrist is causing some issues in the forearm. Again, another...
I wondered if I heard the word nerves from the trainer. I thought it was a question, but maybe I'm wrong. But I thought I might have heard that. Mark, you didn't hear anything in regards to that, did you, when the trainer came out? That nerves might be the reason that his arm's feeling like this?
I couldn't hear correctly, no, sorry.
So as in nerve pain, not nerves as in being nervous?
No, I took it as not nerve pain, nerves.
Nervous, okay.
Just inhibited and...
You know,
but I might be
match
wrong.
Practice when you know that forearm muscle can get really sore when you haven't given it a serious workout.
Yeah, and if you haven't played a lot of matches, Dave, and you come into a situation like this, you're redlining on everything in your body, and
it's actually interesting because we've seen the second players, quite a bit of them. We saw it in the previous match yesterday. When you haven't played that much, and all of a sudden you hear you're practicing a lot because the top players are, they're machines out in the court. They're practicing for hours on end, and if you're all of a sudden into that situation, the overload of that can make a bit of a difference.
That's what I wonder here. If he hasn't had enough tennis under his belt, and then he's thrust into this situation, and it's just all coming to a head.
Yeah, particularly with Stefanos, he's a machine. They're out in the court hours on end. So this might help
Petros
loosen it up a bit.
Yeah, sorry. Petros, Mark, might be warming up in his mind for the next few days, for the next few matches.
Yeah, guys, let me tell you, Petros, I mean, that kid can play. He's a big hitter off the ground, serves big. He had a great year, doubles this year, I think, finishing 140 something in the world. So he's going to be playing the main draw with his brother Stefanos at Australian Open, and like I said, he's focused on the doubles, but he does play a lot of singles practice matches against guys, and I have heard he's beaten a few of the top 100 guys in the last couple of weeks in the off-season in Abu Dhabi, so he can play.
So they've got direct entry now, haven't they? The Tsitsipas brothers, I think, to the Australian Open. There's been a bit of discussion about that, of wild cards. And
well, they'll be a draw card.
Yeah.
That's great.
Particularly in Melbourne.
Yeah. I asked him in an interview on the side of the court yesterday, I was sort of joking. I wanted to get him to smile a bit, and he did. He seemed like a really good kid, Mark. And I said, "Have you ever beaten your brother?"
What did he say?
Have you beaten him yet? And he sort of had a funny look on his face. He smiled and said, "Well, maybe in practice, but not often."
I can't imagine that practice would have gone too well after that. Or maybe lunch, breakfast with the family.
So treatment complete. Pervolarakis bounds back out. Down a break.
Time. $15 love.
He gets in the right position for some of those, Pervolarakis, but there's just a little bit of extra on impact.
$40. $40-15. Game, Team Bulgaria.
No, it's all too easy, isn't it, at the moment for Dimitar Kuzmanov?
Yeah, there's just no fast twitch down the opposition end, so no movement really, and so he just needs to do what he's doing. Kuzmanov, keep the ball in play, use that loop, make his opponent stretch, just get him to move.
Love 15. Fifteen all. $15.30.
Well, this is a game that's pretty important if he's to have any chance at all here, Pervolarakis. He's got a hold here. Oh, that's a good one. So the play is right from Pervolarakis, but the movement is not. I mean, that's the right. It's better than going into the opposition's forehand. So he sees the opening, uses the forehand off. Probably didn't hit it deep and wide enough, but it was the right intent. But his movement forward is too sluggish for me. There's a big gap there down the line.
Game, Team Bulgaria.
Another break. Pretty easy, isn't it, for Kuzmanov? 4-1. Just wonder about the junior development program in Greece when you've got a star like Stefanos Tsitsipas. And Mark, you might be best placed to answer this, but Pervolarakis has been the Greek #2 since 2019. He's gone from 366 in the world at the start of January last year to 503. Have they got much young men coming through?
You know, I'll tell you one thing. Stefanos is very passionate about creating something in back in Greece where to support a lot more of the juniors and to get some kind of a, not a stadium, but more of a program in place for that to happen. And I have heard some young, good junior players coming up, but you're right. I mean, right now you have Tsitsipas, you know, who's #4 in the world, Sakari, who finished, what, #6 in the world. I mean, that's incredible for a nation, small one like that, to have two, you know, top 10 players. So you would imagine there'd be a lot of kids that are looking up to them and thinking, okay, if they can do it, then why can't I do it? And hopefully we'll you know, next few years you'll see some more support there for him. But it is surprising that right now the second player for Greece is in the 500s in the singles.
It's one of the interesting things about this concept with the United Cup is the second singles player for each of the nations is going to be crucial.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, if you've got two good players on the men's and women's side, the second one, that'll be the deciding factor.
I tell you, they have a gutsy little lady that played yesterday, #2.
She looked done. She looked done and managed to scrap her way through to victory, which is what you need.
It sure is.
You're right, guys. When you have two of the highest seeds playing on this in the same team, you know, it's going to come down to if you can try and steal one of those 2-second matches like they did yesterday in the first one. That's huge for him.
The other team in this group is Belgium, who we haven't seen yet, of course. David Goffin and Zizou Bergs. They're two male players, and their women's side is strong with Elise Mertens and Alison van Untang, 29 and 54 in the world. See them in action tomorrow.
40 love.
Well, this is a physical sport. There's no body contact. Not often anyway, David. But but it is very physical. It's a tough athletic sport, and Mike just looks like he doesn't have the fitness levels and the movement or the match practice to go with it here. And they will have to look at Petros, Mark, I think, to play, because you do need to steal a match here and there. Even when you've got two guns like they have, #1 representatives, Greece, they'll need to try and pick up a match or two outside of that if they're going to go deep into the tournament, I think.
15 months.
Look, I 100% agree with what you're saying, Fitzy. In my opinion, if you had Pervolarakis and Petros Tsitsipas play a practice match, Petros would be the favorite right now, if they had to play right now. So, he hasn't played a lot of singles, but he practices a lot of singles matches, and he's had a hell of a lot of doubles, 3 finals and challenges within the last month.
He looks like a fit young man too, and I bet he is.
He is. He puts a lot of work, not only on the court, but off the court. He's a professional, and he loves training, and hits a lot with Steph, so he's not afraid of big hitters, and I think it's something they have to really look at strongly.
$15.30.
Well, missed by a whisker, didn't it? It would have brought up 2 match points here. He hit that well. Just that's the lower percentage one, though, obviously. Over the high part of the net, down to the shortest part of the court.
So it does bring up the match point. Well, Team Bulgaria are on the scoreboard.
Team Bulgaria.
In impressive style.
6-1, 6-1.
Dimitar Kuzmanov dispatches Pervolarakis 6-1, 6-1. Didn't have much on the other side of the net, but I think we're looking forward to seeing him play a more competitive opponent, Kuzmanov, because he showed something today. But that was a pretty comfortable victory.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, I think, to see how he does fare against some of the players in the rest of this competition. Kuzmanov, he's an interesting player. No, he's already a mature player at 29 years of age and probably playing the best tennis of his career. And he'll be happy with that. That's it. You know, there's points at stake. It's a good win for him to get on the board in this competition, and all power to him. And Michail has, you know, some physical issues to deal with now, I guess.
So we'll go into the mixed doubles. On paper, they can still make a change if they like, but Sakari and Tsitsipas will line up against Victoria Tomova and Dimitrov, the playing captain. Bulgarian fans here.
Yeah, there'll be some entertainment in that mixed doubles, David.
Well, I think they're pretty keen to get the win there, just so they've got the 4-1 scoreline. I think they knew that one was going to be difficult, but if it does come back to requiring a tiebreaker on wins and sets won, then that's going to be important. And that was an impressive win. Let's go down to Mark Philippoussis, who's with our winner, Dimitar Kuzmanov.
Well, Dimitar, congratulations. That was a very impressive performance. Tell me how important that was for your team. You gave them their first win, and we know how important every single match is for this format.
First of all, thank you very much for all the fans that came here to support yesterday and today, to all the Bulgarians here and back home supporting us. It was a really tight tie. As you saw yesterday, the result could have been different, and we could have won the both singles. Unfortunately, we didn't. And I'm really happy that I gave our team a win, which is really important for the team spirit, because, as I said, it's a tough match, and we could have turned it a different way. But I'm really happy because also it was my first match for the season, and coming on 3-0 for the Greek team, it's not that easy to get my rhythm, but I'm happy that I closed the match in 2 sets, and hopefully now we can get the win in mixed doubles.
Yeah, you guys have a great energy in your team. I'm sure you are very supportive of each other. Like I said, you're very impressive out here with your movement around the court and your ground strokes. Even when it was coming to the net, I don't think you missed one passing shot. How was your preseason? Where was your preseason? Get ready for this.
Actually, it was really short of a preseason because I finished end of November with the tour. I pretty much played 11 months in a row, so didn't have so much time to prepare as previous seasons. But the situation is like this, that we have to adapt, and I'm happy that I could at least play 2 matches here before going to Australian Open. And of course, the competition is just starting. So even though we lost the tie against Greece, we still have a chance to go through because all the teams are really good with good players. So you never know what's going to happen. And that's why every win, it's important, even though it's 3-0. You know that things can turn out differently at the end of the standings and at the end of the group stage.
Well said. Well, again, congratulations on a great. I'll let you get back to your team, and well done again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Engaging young man. I say young, 29 years of age. He's a late bloomer in terms of his tennis career. He's been a fixture on the Challenger circuit for a long time, but I'm looking forward to seeing him again against an opponent who might give him a bit more of a test to see how he goes in that situation. But he's proud to be representing his country here and get the win, and he's spot on because Team Bulgaria, Dimitrov was a point or 2 away from an upset against Stefanos Tsitsipas, and he almost won with Shinikova against Papa Michail. She looked like she was in command in the early stages of the second set. It was up a break. Here's the stats, and that serve, if you look down the left-hand side, it's a sorry tail. So we'll concentrate on the right-hand side, and the first serve percentage could be a little stronger, but when it did go in, 90% of the points were won, probably due to the unforced errors of Pervolarakis. Unforced errors, a big differential. Didn't come into the net that often, Kuzmanov, but when he did, he was successful, and plenty of breaks. So, as you would expect with the 6-1, 6-1 in an hour and 7 minutes, the tail of the tape shows that it was all one-way traffic in favour of Dimitar Kuzmanov. So Bulgaria, they're on the scoreboard. It's 3-1. Greece have won the tie, but we'll go off to the mixed doubles, and that's not too far away. Thank you to John Fitzgerald and Mark Philippoussis. Bulgaria on the winning sheet here at the United Cup in Perth.